So I have questions for Minister Teo and Minister Indrani. First, for Minister Teo, how long has the government known that organizations, including those in the public sector, have been using NRIC numbers as an authentication factor? And why did it not prohibit its use long before December 2024? Up to December, large regulated organizations like insurers were reportedly still using NRIC numbers as default passwords. I know the minister said earlier that the organizations should stop doing so as soon as possible. Will the government legally prohibit government agencies and organizations from using NRIC numbers as authenticators and do so by a certain deadline? Secondly, I note that Minister Teo replied to me earlier that the risks do not arise directly from the structure of the NRIC number. However, my question about this alternative NRIC structure arises because a masked NRIC can still be reverse engineered due to the algorithm and checksum that it follows. While this algorithm is not officially published, it is widely known. So my question is, what prevents the NRIC from being randomly generated moving forward instead of relying on an algorithm? If the concern is that businesses need to check the validity of an NRIC number provided, I would highlight that many NRIC generators online can already produce numbers that pass this checksum. And to Minister Indrani, business owners and corporate secretaries have reported that many share transfers and annual returns could not be submitted on the new BizFile portal after it was launched. And these are basic functions that every business owner uses. Was sufficient user acceptance testing conducted and signed off by ACRA before the launch of the new portal?
As I said in my ministerial statement, the problem is relatively contained. So whilst we have observed instances of, for example, bank statements being sent to individuals and being accessed with, most of the time, partial. Usually what people receive is you need a password to access a file that is attached to an email. Although the email is already encrypted, for whatever reasons, these organizations still believe that it is necessary to attach another layer of access security for the document that is carried as part of the email. So this process then involves very often using a combination of some other identifier, some other information, could be date of birth, combined with part of the NRIC number to access. The question has to be, is there really a need for authentication to begin with? If you use the example that I just raised, previously, before statements of this nature were sent via encrypted mail, it would have been mailed to our homes in a little envelope. And that envelope does not need a special password to open up. So the fact that some organizations have decided that they need a further layer of authentication in order to access that bank statement, firstly, we would invite the organization to think through, do you really, really need it, right? So that's one question. If they still choose, for whatever services that they make available digitally to their clients or to their stakeholders, they would require authentication, then I'll advise to them that the NRIC number is not a very good authenticator. You should not use it at all. So I think that remains. As to the question of whether we will legally prohibit the use of NRIC numbers as authenticators, as I said, the practices for the private sector will have to be decided upon consultation. So I do not want to say what the landing point is going to be, but even without a legal prohibition, I think organizations, if they care about their data security and they care about protecting the data that they have in their possession or the services being accessed by people who are not intended to enjoy the service, then they should really rethink the authentication methods. Their customers ought to be sensitized to this too, that when the NRIC number is being used by your organization as an authenticator is actually not safe at all. Now, it goes to your point that there are algorithms online that will allow you to work backwards, using the mask numbers to uncover the full number, which is why we are advising our own public agencies to move away from the use of the mask numbers and not to give themselves that false sense of security. I think your question has to do with the fact that how about if you invented a new identifier that cannot be worked backwards? That cannot be worked backwards from the partial identifier. I think my answer still stands. Whether you can work out or you cannot work out, the identifier is not meant to be a secret. It is not shared widely, but some people will know. The persons whom you revealed it to, for example, at the clinic, the person that you revealed it to when making a mobile line application, even if we reach a stage where we do not reveal the partial number, we reveal the full number, if this person was determined to get hold of your identifier, the NRIC number in this case, or any other identifier that you use to access information and services that are not meant for them, they will do so. It comes back to the fundamental point. Even if you cannot work out the full identifier from a partial identifier, as long as that identifier is used for the purposes of authentication or as password, you still have a problem. I hope that explains our position and our thinking.
Mr. Gerald Giam had a clarification on difficulties encountered by users with respect to share transfer forms and the annual returns on the new BizFile portal. Can I just confirm with Mr. Giam that that has nothing to do with the NRIC issue? That's a separate topic, right? Okay. On that, I think that as a new BizFile portal, I understand that there have been some initial issues with the portal. However, what ACRA has done is that they have informed, they have given an extension of time to users who need to file the documents, and they have also indicated that no late penalties will be imposed on people who have difficulties with filing. So firstly, extension given, no penalty. And third, if anyone is having a difficulty with their filing still, please do contact ACRA and their service personnel will assist. The contact information is on the website. Sorry? I don't have details on what kind of testing that exactly that was done, but what I think I can say with relative confidence is that some testing was done. The question on this specific one, I don't have the answer to that. But anyway, anybody who is experiencing difficulty, please contact ACRA. They will assist you. And in the meantime, they're working to resolve any technical difficulties.